y'all. How are y'all doing today? Thank you so much for watching and listening. This is the business of being a virtual assistant. I'm your host, Tiffany Parson. This is episode number 239. I have recorded about 3 or 4 different versions of this. And because I was getting a little crazy, but I'm excited because I have a listener question. The comments came in on YouTube, and the question came from Christian Williams. Thank you so much, Christian. I appreciate you for watching, for listening. It is my absolute pleasure to bring you guys the information. Here is Christian's question. I just started my business as a real estate virtual assistant. I have one client, but so many requests for discovery calls, and my full time job is not flexible. I want to go full time, but I think I should have at least 3 clients before I do so. What do you suggest? All right, so this is how I'm going to answer this question because I want everyone listening and watching me to benefit from this. I'm going to answer Christian's question directly, and then I'm going to answer Christian's question in general, okay? So, Christian, what do I suggest? Well, I think you know your life. And you have already mapped that 3 clients is a good foundation for you so you can leave. Because you know who's depending on you at home. You know what money you need. You know how much the clients bring in. So looking at that, you're saying at least 3 clients before I go. So let's get you those 3 clients. Now, your job is not flexible, and that's fine. They don't have to be flexible because you're about to leave your job anyway, right? They're not flexible. Okay, so let's map out a plan for Christian, y'all. So Christian, this is a wild. I don't know, but if you do this, I want to hear back. I want to get a follow up on this. So Christian, it's February, and more than likely, you have not used up your vacation for the year. Now, I don't know how your job and their vacation works. It has been 14 or 15 years since I've been in corporate America where I, had vacation time like that, where I had to, plan it out. What if you use some of your vacation time for these discovery calls? And if y'all watching me, see me look down, I'm writing as I talk because I get excited. I need to write my thoughts. Let's say, Christian, you decide what 3 days you're going to set up your discovery calls. Can you take off work? Use your vacation time? I don't know how far in advance you have to give them to take days off. You might not even need 3 days. Maybe you only need 2 days to get all your people in. And I know everybody won't be able to get in on those 2 days, but you work your hardest to get everybody's discovery call in those 2 days that you take off from work using vacation. If you want your business, but your job's not flexible, it's getting in the way, and you need 3 clients so you can feel good and leave your job, my suggestion is work hard to get those 3 clients. Take 2 or 3 days vacation to do your discovery calls. Because once they talk to you and see how fabulous you are, and you already have your first client, so you know the process. You took that first client. So that means you have somewhat of a process in place. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you've done it at least one time. Take those 2 days off. Schedule your discovery calls. And by the time you get back to your job, you're going to have more clients. You're going to know when they're ready to start. And then you can plan your exit from your job. I want to know. Come back. Let me know if you do this. Tell me what you think about this idea. My hope is that your job, although they might not be flexible on your schedule from one day to the next, they give you vacation. If they give you 2 days, that's all you need, 2 days. Give people option, discovery call. I'm doing discovery calls on this day, that day. And get everybody in. And you could, say, hey, decide how you do it. Oh, I usually do my discovery calls during the week of the 20th. These are the openings that I have. What time works? However you want to word it. You're not going to tell your clients, oh, I only have 2 vacations. Nope. You're not going to paint that, as a picture. So if anybody else is in the same situation as Christian, you got people in the pipeline that want to do discovery calls, but because of your job, you don't, really feel good about scheduling them on a work day. Use your vacation days, schedule your discovery calls, and away we go. You don't have anything to lose on that. Nothing to lose. The job gives you vacation days. Sometimes you got to do radical things to get radical results. Tell y'all a wild story of young Tiffany. I don't even remember what year it was. I was working at an insurance company that I hated. I hated my job. I don't know, maybe I was 23 or 24. But this supervisor job came open, and young Tiffany felt like the managers were just not smart. They were not the wisest or the brightest, and young Tiffany felt like she could do a better job. So I interviewed to be the manager of one of our areas, and you'd just be managing maybe 5 people, small team. I felt like I could handle it. The guy they picked was like, really? I was hot, y'all. I didn't cause a fuss at the job. That's not how I operate. I operate in secrecy. So what did I do? I talked to my boss. This not immediately after. I let some air come between getting the, finding out and working my job. But my coworker who sat it felt like we were so close, like we were sitting in each other's laps. We were so close to each other. And she would ask me questions all day, and it would just drive me nuts. Like simple questions. It would just drive me nuts. And this was way back in the day when people were still learning email, still learning computers. So I'll get those questions all day, every day, all day, every day. So I asked for a meeting with my supervisor, and I told her I needed an emergency vacation. I need emergency vacation. I was stressed. There was too much going on, and I'll be taking an emergency vacation immediately. Was I asking permission to take an emergency vacation? No, because I got vacation time. Emergency vacation. I'm going to need all 2 weeks. I made up in my mind before I asked for the 2-week emergency vacation is a phrase I came up with. I had already made up in my mind before I asked for this meeting that what I was going to do in the 2 weeks is find me a new job. I made up in my mind by the time I come back, I'm going to have a new job. My coworkers were not risk takers. I can't tell you how many of them asked me because they were all older, like older than my parents. I was, early 20s, and they were older, way older. And so they would be like, oh my gosh, Tiffany, you're using all your vacation. What about Christmas? What about this? Now, this was earlier in the year. Might have been like around this time, maybe March, April, somewhere in there. But it was way, way far away from the holidays. What are you going to do about Christmas and Thanksgiving? Aren't you going to go home? Because I was living in Texas then, and I'm from North Carolina. I was like, oh, I'm not going to worry about that. Because you don't tell everybody your plans. That's the other thing. Don't tell people what you plan to do. Just do it. They don't need to know. So I was like, no, I'm not really worried about it. So plan was in motion. Do you know before those 2 weeks were up, I had a new job. I had a new job, y'all. I was determined to get out of there. Determined to get out of there. So when I came back, I was well rested, feeling good, because I had a plan. And I think I waited a week before I turned in my resignation because my new job wasn't going to be starting for, we had to wait maybe 3 weeks or something like that. And that's how I ended up getting into computer programming and all this stuff. Everything in your life is intertwined. Even my aggravating coworker that would ask me a million questions about how to do email. And the other lovely ladies that I did like, but they asked me a million questions about how to get their computer set up and Excel and this and that. That's where I learned that I really liked computers and training and talking to people. Everything wove in nicely. And the job I got was actually a training program, a paid training program that would teach you how to be a computer programmer. And you had to take a test. You had to have a liberal arts degree. It was beautiful. They would help you find a job at the end, which I ended up, working at Sprint, which was my absolute favorite corporate job ever. I was a software engineer at Sprint in the late 90s. It was great. And everything weaves together your whole life. So I'm saying all this to say, if you want radical results, you got to do stuff radical. Do things that the average person is not willing to do. What is it that you need to do to get what you want that you're waiting it out for the safe way? There's no safe way. People are getting laid off left and right. Google had layoffs, Apple had layoffs, Microsoft had layoffs, Amazon has layoffs. Everybody's laying off, different people laying off. The job is not security. Having a paycheck every 2 weeks, every month, that's not security. So you got to do something radical. Something that your peers are not willing to do. So you can get what they're not willing to get. Being a business owner is risky, but it also comes with great rewards. What is it that you know you have to do, but you haven't wanted to jump? You haven't wanted to do it. You've been waiting. Clients aren't going to ring your doorbell. You got to do something radical, different from what you've been doing. It might be normal to those that are already out there doing it. But if you're looking at your friends in corporate, oh, it's radical. It's wild. People are going to ask you all kinds of crazy questions. How you guarantee you're going to get paid? What about health insurance? What about more clients? What about this? What about that? It'll always be, what about this? What about that? We get one life and no dress rehearsal. One life, no dress rehearsal. There are no guaranteed do-overs. So, if you are listening to this episode, this resonates with you, I want to hear from you. You can do just like Christian, ask your question in the comments if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. If you are listening and driving, don't don't wreck. Trying to ask your question in the comments over on YouTube or Facebook. Just remember to come back. Send yourself a little voice note to come back and ask your question. So anyway, thank you so much for listening and for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. I know it takes a lot to sit and watch an episode or to listen to a podcast episode, so I don't take any of it for granted. So anyway, I look forward to hearing from you. And Christian, definitely follow up. Let us know if you are going to do the 2 days, how it worked out when you take the vacation and you get all the clients that you want so you can leave your job. We want to hear from you. So thanks again. You guys have a wonderful and fantastic day.